Hey everybody, thanks for checking out my latest video. I haven't made a video in a few days. I've been making less in general lately. My most popular videos were chess ones, which I think were pretty entertaining, but I haven't been playing chess as much because I made a video where I lost 12 out of 13 matches in a day, and then the next day I went on there and probably lost another 10 straight matches. I dropped over 100 ratings points when I was sort of getting up to approaching a 1,000 rating, and I think I'm a 1,200 player or not that far away. So I haven't played as much because I'm like, if this game is going to cause me this much aggravation and so I'll take a break from it for a while. As far as the sports type stuff, I've been doing some DraftKings UFC Rainmakers. The money in there has been buying packs and boosting your collector score as well as entering the contest. But flipping cards, the money's not as big as the NFL All Day because the contests fighters don't fight every week. They fight like twice a year, most of them. But I am profitable in that. I've been dipping back into NFL All Day and NBA Top Shot a little bit, or just looking into those because I had some money in my wallet with those from selling stuff over the years. And of course, Sorare. Now, Sorare NBA I've been doing well in. Football over the maybe a year I've been in it. Never did very well. I bought some limiteds and I didn't really put them into the. I didn't really focus much on it, and didn't really flip. Oh no, I flipped a few, but anyway. SoRare's got a bunch of changes coming along of these salary cap or draft contests, and I wanted to go over. They just came out with They have a bunch of changes going on, but they just came out with the Bundesliga one, the French league, which is Liga, the La Liga, Spain, and Serie. And these start in one day, so you're going to want to get these in. I'll just go ahead and give you my picks straight off, and then I'm going to go over why I picked them and also what's going on and what are these contests, and all the big changes on it. But if you just want to see who I picked, Bundesliga, this is where I stand currently on these, and I'll explain. That these are season long to some degree, so I wouldn't worry too much about the matchups in week one, but I'll probably go over that more in the strategy portion. On the forwards, I have Musiala at 57, Jonas Wind at 46, and you can see who's been taking the most if you hit highest collection percentage or highest selection percentage. And if you remove yours, you can see them on there. Midfielders, Kimmich from Bayern and Florian Wirtz from Dortmund, I believe. Or Leverkusen. No, he's from. Is that Leverkusen? I'd just have to double check. But defender Schlotterbeck, Nico. He has a brother, but this one from Dortmund, and Frimpong from. I think that's Leverkusen. I have to double check. Sorry. Goalies Trapp and Schwab at 41 and 40. So you can see the salaries. That leaves me one gem left over. As far as who I would be starting week one, this is who I currently have. Now, because my goalkeeper, so I like looking at the last 5 day for this, but you can do the last 15 as well. The salaries are based on the last 15. But he's playing Bayern Munich, which is nice. You can hover over things a lot on this. It's so rare that they're improving. So I didn't want to start him. So I'm starting Schwab, who's on Cologne. I think who's paying Schalke. Defenders. So these two are going against the game against each other. So I generally don't want to play, teams from opposite teams going against each other, although there may be times you have to. But Schlotterbeck, midfield Kimmich, center striker Musiala, and so on the bench, this Florian Wirtz is a hotly tipped one, and he's very expensive. And he just came back from injury, but he had a bad first game, so I'm going to give him a little more time, I think, and wait. But you can see I've got several players from the same teams on it, and then I have this Jonas Wind from Wolfsburg. So I used him as my extra. So let's see. If you go to... So I have two Bayern. The most you can have from one team is two. I have 2 Leverkusen. I have 1 Dortmund, I believe. And then some from some other teams. And again, I'll go over the strategy of and the league tables and ways I searched on SorareData and came up with these and sites you can use for information. So on the French League, Liga, or it says French League, but the amateur divisions are the big contests starting this week. Okay, here are the toughest call. I'm going to go over this again as strategy. Here the toughest call is PSG players, specifically Messi, because he's so expensive. But the way I have it set up currently, Messi and Mbappe as forwards, midfielders Guendouzi and Simon from Nantes, and Marseille, Nantes. Both those are from PSG. Marseille from Nantes. Defenders, Brassier from Brest, Perrin from Strasbourg. Goalkeepers, Diao from Claremont? Can't think of it right now. And Sells from Strasbourg. So I have 2 PSG and 2 Strasbourg, I believe. And now Strasbourg is towards the bottom of the table in the French league. But this is the way it worked out for now on that one. That one I may end up changing. But okay, so on La Liga, Santander, the Spanish one. Here, forwards, I have Vinicius Jr. and Lewandowski from Real Madrid and Barca. Midfielders, I have Pedri and Yunus Musa from Barcelona and Valencia. Defenders, I have Eder from Real and Javier Galan from Celta Vigo, I believe it is. Goalkeepers, I have Jan Oblak from Atletico Madrid. You can see their salaries. Badia from Elche. I always pronounce it Elche. I think it's Elche. For the starters, did I go over the French starters? I'm sorry. No, I don't think I did this French starters. So the French starters, it's actually I think it was a tougher call here. Let me see if I had any of these players playing against them. Now I think I went ahead and did the stack though. I think well I went with I have the 2 defenders together. Guendouzi at midfield, Messi and Mbappe. Now I'm probably going to want to check to see who's starting. If you can up until when you can change it. And there, I'm going to give it 2 sites that you can look at for that. Actually 3, but depends on if you have the premium SorareData or not, which I don't. But if you pay up for the premium, there's a lot more information on there. Serie A. Wait, did I show my La Liga? Yeah, I showed this. Did I show my La Liga starters? No, I didn't. Okay. So on La Liga, I've got 2 Real Madrid, 2 Barcelona, 1 Atletico Madrid, 1 Celta Vigo, 1 Elche, 1 Valencia. Okay, so goalkeeper, Oblak, Athletic Madrid. Defender, Eder, I think, Real Madrid. Midfielder, Pedri, Barcelona. Striker, Vinicius Jr., Real Madrid. Lewandowski is on a 1-game suspension, so here I'm using Yunus Musa. Captain, Gavi. Sorry, and the captains on the other ones. Captain on Bayern, I have his Kimmich. Captain the German, I have his Kimmich. Captain the French, I have his Messi. Okay, so then Serie A. And again, I can declick these and show you where they are in the percentages. I just don't really want to go through that again right now. But for strikers, Osimhen, Napoli. Rasmus Holland, Atalanta. Midfield, Zaccagni, Lazio. Koopmeiners, Atalanta or Atlanta. Defenders, Kim Min-jae, Napoli. Gendry from Lecce. Goalies, Odero from Sampdoria and Vanya from Torino. So then for my starting lineup currently, I have Vanya, the goalkeeper, two Napoli players starting, Kim Min-jae and Victor Osimhen. Midfield, Zaccagni from Lazio. Then the extra one is a little tougher, I would say, but I think I had Rasmus Holland in currently. Let's just see. Yeah, I think I had Rasmus Holland. That's the last 5. That's the last 15. May end up going with that one. But I think I had Rasmus Holland in forward. And then the captain I had is Osimhen. But you could also go with another one. So I just want to double check. That's what I had. Yeah. Okay, so hopefully I won't make this too long. So let me go over some more about this. Okay, there's also these pro competitions, which are salary cap. I'm calling it salary cap. You can call it draft or whatever you want to call it. But, in America, we call it a salary cap, which is a good way to do it. They have those fair play spending rules and all that stuff. Anyway, it's a gem cap, really. So they have these new contests. The Pro 270. Basically, what these require is 1 common and 4 limited from the same league, minimum 4 limited. But the common does count the points, according to this. Some of the average scores in the last 15 games must remain below 270. Must remain below 270. So if they go up, then you're not going to be able to use the same lineup going forward. But that I'm not sure, because for the gems for the limited ones, how those are going to be allocated, or are they just going to stay the same? Because let me just see here. If I don't know if I know I have a La Liga player, I believe. Let me just see here. I think I have a La Liga player I'm not using. Okay, well their score is going to be their rating is their gem rating is their average over the last 15, so that will change. Okay, so you're not going to be able to start the same one every week. But what I wanted to show you here, so the 270. So in the Spanish one, now Lewandowski's not playing this week. I have Vinicius Jr. I have Eder. Maximum 1 common. This is the problem. I'm sorry. I just wanted to give you an idea of what the salary. I don't have enough, I don't think, to make it on these. I think I might be close on the Spanish, but it wasn't close to 270, so I didn't think I was going to enter it into that. But just to show you give you an idea about the salaries. So this is the team that fit under the salary cap on the other one, the 400, I believe it is. So then 47 left. So if this was the team, I could not play Lewandowski, but I could play him. That's one I actually own. Anyway, that's just to give you an idea. So you can see the average, basically 5 into 20, 270, which is, what is that, 44, I think, each. So that's how that works. And again, I'm sorry, it's 4 limited, 1 common. The commons are coming from the new salary cap, though, only. I believe. Let me double check. Let me look at the La Liga one, because they're going to be sort of phasing out the old commons. That's a big part of what they're doing. Wait, French League. I'm sorry. Let me look at Liga real fast. This is very rambling, I know, but I do have some more good information I want to share with you. But Messi, yeah, because I have Neymar I picked up and he's not on there. Okay, so the point being is one of the main things with this is you're going to keep these players for the rest of the season, and possibly beyond that. So I wouldn't worry too much about week one matchups. You will be able to make two changes the rest of the year. I mean, each week, I believe, each week to your team based on salary cap. So you could, dump them and do that each week, but still three of your starters are going to, probably remain the same. And I think the key is to really try to find five strong starters while still having a decent bench. Because that fifth spot. So if you shoot all your money on your four spots, you're not going to have a very good fifth spot. And I think stacking is the way to go. I think basically here's how I decided on stacking. If you look at Ligue table, Ligue 1, I am from Formula 1, Ricky Bobby. Paris Saint-Germain is the top team, but they actually aren't dominating by that much. But that would be obvious one to stack. And then if you look at, I'm not looking at like expected goal differential, but goal differential is a nice indicator, even more than points really. But then you can also look at for and against for how well they score and how well they defend. But just a simple overview, I would say these teams right now, it's like halfway through the season, would be ones to lean heavier on probably. And then down the bottom, the ones that are going to be relegated or look like they may be relegated, those generally aren't good to get, but you may have to and stick it out. And this type of thing, it won't matter as much as in the regular, where the value can go to zero basically if their team gets relegated. So you can see from the minus 10 on down, it's almost like its own separate group, and then there's the mid table. I'm not 100% sure how it stands with these, but I mean I know Lyon is usually decent. I thought Nice, I thought Nantes. Clermont seems, and Lorient are high, but Rennes, it is what it is. And now Lens, they're not in Sorare. So you got some of these. I believe Lille is not either. But you'll find players when you're searching. At least I did, that aren't in the game. Bundesliga, Bayern Munich is running away with it. So you're gonna want two players from Bayern Munich. You're probably gonna want two players from PSG. You're going to definitely want at least one from PSG. You're going to want two players from Bayern Munich. They are dominating the league in goal differential and points. Down at the bottom, Bochum, Hertha Berlin. Bochum and Schalke, their goal differential is horrible. I mean, I thought Schalke was a pretty big club. Then you have Hertha Berlin and Augsburg and Stuttgart, Werder Bremen. So there's a long way to go in this one. Dortmund isn't doing as well as they have in recent years. Leverkusen's a big club, obviously. Freiburg was right near the top, but they've already come down a little bit. So then if you're looking at goal differential, Wolfsburg, Frankfurt, and Leipzig. Now, Leipzig might not be in the game. I don't know. You have to double check on that. A couple of these aren't in the game. Aren't in at least the salary cap version of the game. So you're going to want a couple Bayern there. Then La Liga. I mean, the obvious ones are Barcelona and Real Madrid. I went with two of each. I went with two Paris Saint-Germain, two Bayern, and I ended up with two of other teams as well, but then two Barca and two Real. You don't have to go that way, and they're actually not dominating by as much as they might. But those are the two teams that put up the points in general. Particularly Barca this year looks really very strong. Then you have Sociedad, Atletico Madrid, Villarreal. Those two teams are usually really good. Going down, Valencia and Espanyol. Valencia seems low down to me. Sevilla. Again, I haven't paid as much attention the last couple of years because of COVID to some of these European leagues. Down at the bottom, Elche, Cadiz, Valladolid, Celta Vigo, Getafe, Sevilla, Almeria. So looking at those. Serie A. Napoli is running away with it and scoring a lot of goals. So you want two Napoli players on your team. This has not been the year of. I mean, and these teams could close the gap, but if you look at this gap in points, I mean they have a 12-point lead. Let's see here. Paris Saint-Germain have a 3-point lead. Bayern have a 4. Barca has a 3 and then a 3. So there's not much gap in those, but look at that gap on Napoli. They seem to be running away with it. So for the time being, at least you're going to want to have them. If you look at form, Juventus. But anyway, so then you have AC Milan, Lazio, Inter, Roma. Roma's not in the game, I believe. And Inter might not be. AC Milan, one of these is not in the game, I believe. So just double check. I know there's other. Juventus might not be in the game. But, Inter, Roma, Atalanta, Udinese, Juventus, Fiorentina. And at the bottom, the bottom of the Serie A is some crappy teams, if I remember correctly, from Football Manager in general, like small clubs. So keep an eye there. They're not going to put up points against the bigger teams most likely, or very good points. But okay, so you're going to want 2 Napoli, and you're probably going to want to focus on players from those teams. Okay, so how to find players. I'm going to use SorareData here because last one I talked about the Sorare search. I don't have the premium, but the one nice one that's working fairly well is search mode by player rankings. Okay. Then you select the league. So here I selected Ligue 1. Formula 1. Midfielders. Okay. I'm not looking at the game week right now. All I can really do is sort by this, and then I sort of have to manually go through them. You have better ways to search if you're a premium member. But one of the keys I think is you want the last 15 to be lower than either the last 5 or last 40. That means you're getting them at a good salary, like him right here, Pedro Chervel. Last 15 is a 50, last 40 is a 52, last 5 is a 62. So I've been sorting by last 5 average or last 40 average, and then looking for bargains that way. And then I've sometimes just had to click through them and look at them. So I ended up with this Guendouzi here at 50. And also some of these at times our last 15 is different on here than it is in the actual game. So just double check. You might come to be surprised that they're higher. So when I find one, or when I have a certain amount left. Okay, so let me just go over this a little better again. The way to build your team, I think, is to start with your key players. Okay. So in this case, let me just clear this one out. And this now will show by highest selection percentage. So I said I want 2 Bayern players. Now, which ones to get? Kimmich is very highly selected. Look at their forwards. These are all Bayern players, are all the top selected currently. I mean, I don't know how many players they can start each game. Defenders. So Bayern's dominating. Goalies. Isn't Neuer injured? But okay. So then if you take it over here, for example, let me see with the team. Let me just look at one thing here. There's a couple of different ways to do this, but one thing you can look at on that is to click the team name on SorareData and then roster. And this shows you by position who they have. And I've just been mostly using the eyeball of this compared to what I already know. So I can look at this and go, wow, Bayern's only midfielder who's putting up good points is Kimmich. Goretzka a little bit, but they've got all these attackers, and I know that they're splitting time to some degree. Mueller, I don't think has even been playing as much in general. Sadio Mane's had injuries, so that's a tough call. The defenders actually, these guys look pretty good, and the goalkeeper. So when you're doing that search, like I showed, let me see. So for example, let's just go back to Bundesliga. So last 5 average right there, Kimmich. Look at those numbers, 72, 70, 75. I think the last 40 average is a good one too. If you're looking for who's been good over sustain, just to get ideas. Kimmich number 1, Bellingham But look how much below Bellingham actually is. I know he's a younger player and promising and all that. Arnold. Anyway, so the building blocks of your team, Bayern. I was like, well, Kimmich has to be one of them if I can afford him. Okay, so stick him in. Now, then you're going to want to. You have 5 spots, and you're probably going to not want them both, like both midfielders from Bayern in case they're off or something like that. So you'd want a forward, defender, or a goalkeeper. Probably not a goalkeeper because there's not as much differential in goalkeepers in general, I think. So then we're going to those midfielders and defenses. And sorry if I'm clicking around a lot. I'm still waking up this morning. Bayern scoring, they've scored 51 goals, 14 above everybody. So I'd pretty much be looking at their attackers. The issue I had is the split. Now in the first beta of this, I had Musaila, and a lot of people have him. He's a young superstar in the making. He plays a lot. So let's pull him up real fast. So they have him at 55 in the last 15. Then you just want to double check that in the Sorare. See, they have him at 57. So that's something I ran into. So even though SorareData is showing him at 55, his actual salary is 57. And then you can see all the other ones there. Okay. So the Bayern, then I get to look at the price. That can help you too as well, just to compare players sometimes, but also young players are going to have big premiums. Now you are going to get to keep this card through multiple seasons, so this could be a really good comment to have. I believe you are, at least for this season, and they build up experience during the season, which can make the difference in winning and losing, which is why you don't want to you want to try to lock down all your good players up front and not have to make too many changes each week. But anyway, then I'll go to SO5 scores. Try to look at maybe the last 40. He has a lot of 70s and 80s, but some not as good. Then his recent performances, and of course the World Cup, you're going to kind of want to watch out. But it's strong. That's the last 15, last 5. He doesn't really have many hundreds, and you can even go to all or 1 year. Now look at that dispersion as he's getting older, and this is from when he was young. That's getting better and better. So pretty promising one, and the price is not outrageous. You could say Mane, if you follow them and know their injury thing. I mean, Sané is a good player. People are buying Mueller, but he's 33. I mean, I tried to avoid any players over 30 except for I did Lewandowski just because I wanted him. He's 33. Maxime. Gnabry's another really good one. I thought he might be a transfer target. I'm not sure. So it's tough to decide. He hasn't really settled that great, I don't think, into Bayern yet, Sadio. But I guess the question is with the injury. So then, and he's only going for half or less of what Musaila, but he's a lot older. I mean, you could see, but he was on Liverpool. So then if injuries, this sportsgambler.com is decent for injuries that I've seen, just in general. So we go to Bundesliga. Then we go down to Bayern. They've got him early February leg injury. Well, since it's already, I mean, that could be 2 more weeks or more. I mean, you would have to research it even more than that. And if you follow them, so that's why I shied away from him. Gnabry. Anyway, so that was a tough call. That's a tough call. That might be the one I changed because I had him in, and he's had disappointing. I mean, he doesn't have. He's not as consistent, but I mean, I guess you want the ones who have the very strong games. The defenders on Bayern. I'm not going to go over. I'm sorry if I'm just showing some of the teams in depth. The defenders on Bayern. You could actually look at these, but they score so many goals. Daley Blind's old. Alphonso Davies, good, really good young player. Pavard, Matheus Delight. I mean, they have good players at every position. But I think the forward's the way to go. Kimmich is definitely the way to go. This is a tough call. I may actually go back and put a defender there if I decide not. Anyway, so I decided Musaila. If you look at who the most picked strikers are, there aren't that many good strikers going on in the Bundesliga currently. The fact that the top 7 are all Bayern, and then if you run it on here, I mean, you can look at other sites, but if we run it back on the player finder, and we say what forwards have the most goals. I mean, have the most highest last 15 scores. So I'm just going to go League, Bundesliga, position forward. Let's just go last 40 average descending. This will sort of tell you who the best consistent guys forwards putting up Sorare points are. Hopefully this will run fast. Okay. Now this guy Nkuku on Leipzig. He's like the top, one of the best ones. There's Musaila right there though. So even though he's only at 56, 55, he's like the 6th rated one, and he's a lot cheaper than Nkuku. Pia, then you got Mane, Diaby, Jonas Wind, I picked as my backup, Nabry. So I'm looking for these, and the ideal ones that stand out are ones that the 15 is lower than the 5 and the 40 if they're going to be assumed to get the playing time, because there might be a dip in there, and like Diaby if he's playing type of thing. Or look at this Jonas Wind that I picked up for 48. He may not be 48 exactly, but let me just double check. He's my backup striker, and I don't think anybody's hardly picking him. And again, I don't know that like you have to go all the way down. Let me see if I can even do a search. Yeah, so there he is. He's on the 4th row down, so a decent amount of people are picking him, but he's 46. If you click on him on here, you can see his last 2 games he did well. Didn't play in the World Cup. He's from Denmark. Before that, he missed a game there, but he was playing all the games there. So let's just put him in on SorareData. He's only 23. $64 his cards go for. So here's his last 40. He didn't play here, so I'm assuming he was injured. When he plays, he puts up good points. And this is my backup anyway. Then you go to the all. I mean, this guy's a point getter, and he scored the last match. Well, on this game, he's only 46, so that is a clear one to me. And again, so then we go back to these. Let's see. Then you go back to these strikers. You can sort by the highest points, but this Nkuku might actually be one I would go for instead. But when you have 260, as I'll show you with France, when you have 260 plus players, it's hard to fit the rest of your team in. So anyway, let's just say I went for Musaila. Then defender. Okay. I mean, I had to research the Bundesliga a little more before because it was the first beta one. But when we go to the search, so on the Bundesliga, let's just do defenders. And let's just say, last 40 games again. Daily Blind, Schlotterbeck, Borussia Dortmund, 65, 64, 62, 23 years old. There's 2 Schlotterbecks. I actually considered his brother as well. Another Bayern player. But again, you can only have 2 Bayern players. Doki going down, maybe this Mavropanos on Stuttgart looks actually good. So I can make changes, but there's not that many for this. For your starter, you're looking at these high. You want these high scores as high as possible. Guerrero on Dortmund, but Schlotterbeck's the top. He just is. Especially if you're looking at the 2 Bayern elsewhere. His card goes for 200. Says his position is primarily left center defender. I mean, look at those 70, 70, 70, 100. He even played for Germany. He started for Germany during the World Cup. I mean, this guy's putting in some good, consistent numbers. And he's young. Look at that. So, Schlotterbeck, stud defender to go with a stud midfielder. And he is, look where he is picked. He's on the fourth row because he's so expensive. So, not as many people have him. This is partially why I went for Musaila as well, because I wanted the Schlotterbeck. Then the goalie. And sometimes the way I've been doing it is I get the 2 from the team I want, or 2 I know I want, or even 1. Then I go to goalie and look for reasonable. I've had to end up cutting my money into the goalies in general, which I don't think is going to be a problem. But there are goalies who can put up good points. But Neuer's injured, and they're picking him. By the way, he's the most picked goalie according to this. So I'm already looking at that. I only have 41 left to player. Okay. And so what you can do is stick in like a 40 goalie you can also do this just to calculate like here, so you don't have to do it yourself. You can stick in like 40, 40, 40 and just see what you have left on your best one if you went all 40s. So there I can see I have 46 if I went all 40s. Anyway, so goalie. Going back here to search. These are also ones that you can just look at on here as well. But I mean, I don't think you want to have all. So the guys that are the most picked would be considered the chalk. Okay, I don't think you want all the chalk, but you can use it to get ideas. I mean, look, Torgan Hazard. I think that's Eden Hazard's brother, is only 40, and Julian. Wait, let's see, where is he? Yeah, he actually was picked a lot, and then they took him down. Let me see. He's on Leverkusen. Florian Wirtz. Now he was one that was tipped that I heard about, so I went with him because I know he was 40. 40 is the minimum. He actually is less than that, I think, on actual points. But he's expected to be good. He didn't do good last week, but I went ahead and picked him. $500 his cards go for, 450. Been hurt, just making a comeback. So he's been hurt a long time. But go back, mad points for 40. But you're going to have to gamble that he's healthy and he gets back to form fairly quickly, although he's on my bench. So it may not be that high a risk. So I still know already, though, this Jonas Wind was who I ended up with points. I didn't go in wanting him, but I ended up being happy with him as my backup, like I showed you. So I'm getting squeezed here on goalie and defender. So I'm pretty much know I'm going to want a 40-point defender, but I'm basically going to try to find the cheapest, best goalie. Okay, so let me go to the search. Goalkeeper. Let's say last. I mean, some of these I've actually been using the last 5 more than the last 40 to sort, but okay. So here you're going to look for a low last 15, but decent others. Now Neuer's 47, but he's hurt. Jan Sommer, he's old and he's on Bayern. Backup. Blazovic 46. I'm really looking for below that though. 47, 47. Manuel Riemann 42. Bochum. Where is Bochum in the table? I believe they're pretty low. Bochum's down here, but they're not relegated yet. And they do let in a lot of goals. So not a great one, but I would consider him. I could bring him. Radecki is the one I had picked originally. This would be the one I would want at 49 for a really good team, but I couldn't afford him. So Marvin Schwabe, 40 for Cologne. His card goes for 65. He's only 27. He's starting every game basically. He's gotten some good games. So when I saw that, I was like, you could say, well, I know I want him, and he's only 40. And if you go down, look, he's all the way down to the where he's way down here. He's all the way down to here. Nobody's picking him. And again, he plays for Cologne, I believe. So they're here. I mean, and their goal differential is fine. I guess I could check if he was injured or starting or all that, but that's only one of my goalies. So I think you want to have two goalies that start. That's the key. It doesn't matter if they're great, if you need to scrimp on salary. So now I'm looking at 45, 46. I'm probably looking at another goalie because I'm going to try to find a 40 defender because I do have a really good defender. Try to find a 40 or 41. And then I hadn't filled in the Jonas win, so I could have done a little more. On the goalkeeper, it's Pavlenka, Kevin Trapp. And who did I end up going with? I can't even remember now. I mean, I can find it if I go back, if I back out. So if you go up to the highest, it's Kobel on Dortmund, Flecken. But you're looking for cheap guys. Christensen's who I actually picked in the last round, but look, he hasn't done much and he's really young. He might not be playing as much. Bredlow for 40. Not starting. Radecki's the one I really wanted. I don't think I could afford him, though, the way it ended up at 49. 49 is a lot for a keeper in this game. Schultze, not playing. Who's the one I ended up picking? Sven Ulrich, 60. Let me see here. Sorry for this. My brain's not functioning as well this morning. I picked Schwab. Did I pick Riemann? Riemann? I think I might have picked Riemann. So if you go here to like Bochum. Yeah, he's starting. Michael Esser, who's out, he's out. He's started 100% of the games both ways, and his scores are not that bad. So I went for him, I believe, for 42. And again, if we go here to him, he's $43. Even though they're a bad team and they might get relegated, you're not really worrying about the relegation as much with this game, I believe, with the gem, salary cap game. And he's had some good totals. So I believe I went with him. So then that leaves me 44. Although, like I said, I hadn't filled in this wind yet. So here, what I'm looking at is I've got three guys I know I like, and I'm going to start a goalie. So then I need an extra because there's 5. So there's 3, 4. Wirtz could end up being it easily, but I don't know that at first. So I'm probably going to look at a forward and a defender, and I have 45 between them. And I ended up finding that Vind, as I said earlier, because you go to forwards. Let's just look at last 5. Second best in the league. Diaby, Playa, but his cost is only 48. And again, if you click on him, he's only 23 years old. When this guy gets a chance to play, he puts up points. And it looks like he's getting a chance to play. And I'm not sure if he was here. Look at his points. So, I mean, got to do it. And I don't even really know that much about him. And then if you look at Wolfsburg, they're doing good this year. And they have a really good goal differential. So that one's like a gem that I think I found. But who knows? I mean, a gem in terms of a bargain. So that leaves me 44 on defender. And this is where it goes back and forth with your final slots between your goalie. So here, like that, if I did like that, then I'm like, well, I got this much to spend between these. So first place I would probably go back to is the player finder. Let's look at defenders. Let's just say last 5. But I know I need a middle one in the 40s, like a middle number, last 15 in the 40s. Van der Ven's 54. That looks like a good player, but not Daily Blind. This Heinrich 47. Schlotterbeck, that's his brother. I almost looked at picking him, but I didn't. Bornau, I had picked him last week. This Kasunu on Leverkusen. Danny Suarez. Yoshida, but again, I'm not really looking at players over 30. David Raum, 48. Helvetti. Frimpong 44 is, I believe, who I went with. Now, if you look there, it doesn't look like he's starting that much, but I think that Frimpong's who I went with. He's 22 on Leverkusen. His cards go for 44. When he starts, he's good. He didn't play in the World Cup, so that's 5 of the games. If you go back to the games before that, it looks like he was starting. And I double checked. I believe I double checked that he's not hurt or anything. So you got to think. I think I just decided a good young player. I just thought he was the best one that I could find. Let's see where he was picked on here. If there were, even if there were guys in their 40s, like bargain ones. If you look, the top ones, 67, 65, like they're loading up on a blue chip defender, and there was no like screaming bargain to them. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's in order of points. Let's go in high selection. Alphonso Davies, Mooner, who's injured, Hincapi, and there's Frimpong. So and Lucas Hernandez, injured. That's a defender on the same team. Oh no, not the same team, but that's a defender. Well, I figured, okay, so a lot of people are picking him, and he's 44. They know what they're doing. So that filled out that lineup. I believe that's even the lineup I picked. But let me just double check. No, that isn't the one I picked. Well, the difference I made here was I actually went for Kevin Trapp as my goalkeeper, not the 42 guy. Let's see. Riemann. Riemann is on Bochum, I think, which is why I didn't pick them, because they're so bad that I don't think I'll have as many good opportunities, although they get shot stops. And Trapp's on Eintracht Frankfurt, and he did have a recent good last game. I think I went back and forth on that one. So like Kevin Trapp. He goes for 95. Wasn't doing that good. Had a good game. Yeah, I might go back to the other guy. I might go back to Riemann. I'm not sure why I went with. I think it might have been the team. Let's see. Let me just double check here. Sorry. He goes for 42. I mean, his numbers are actually better. I mean, he has some terrible ones, but I think I was thinking about the relegation and that he wouldn't be usable as a common next season. But I think as a goalkeeper now, I might actually go with him. So that was the team. And then so and again with the starters, let's just go to the Schlotterbeck I know, Kimmich I know, Musaila. Now with the goalies, Cologne and Bochum, last 5, last 15. Schalke and Mainz, man. His are actually look more consistent on the last 5. But he had a really big game there. That's a tough one. So I think I might have gone with him. Now the extra, again, I have Frimpong, Jonas Wind, and Wirtz. Wirtz might become the guy, but right now this guy's hot, assuming he's starting. So that's it. Then you just got to pick the captain. I went with Kimmich. Okay, the French one. Let me just tell you my thoughts about these contests too, and the way they're doing it. There's still, I believe it's not all unveiled yet. Now this does they are giving away a whole lot more limited cards than they used to, but I don't think they're giving away as many common cards, or they're not. But you get to pick the common cards. You get to pick players from each division, which is why I'm picking younger players, because these will have some carryover. The issue is Sorare being greedy, in my opinion, and only giving out 200 on 50,000. That's a very small. Now, I mean, I hit 1,000 on the NBA one a couple times, but that had a lot less entrants. And by the way, on the NBA one, I won a lot of limiteds in that, and I'm even projected to get a limited today. And it keeps making my team better and better. Like if you go to last week, 331st out of 10,000, I won a Terry Rozier, who's like a $30 card. I cashed in that. But what really got me going, and maybe I got lucky, but I came in the top 1,000 in this champion a few times right off the bat, and that pays you a limited. See, they may not be as generous next season, or who knows, but they're much more generous with this. But the cards have value, as long as the NBA season's going, which goes on for a long time. So I built up. If I get another one this week, I mean, it's going to be a tier 5. Is not as good. If it depends on where it comes in. But I won this Sengun, I won this Fox, I won this Griffin. Plumlee I bought, Simmons I won, Vanderbilt I won, Rozier. So I'm almost getting to where I can have 2 good teams and fit most of those plus these. And I use SorareData lineup builder a lot for this, which is based on RotoWire. Anyway, going back to the football, soccer. 200 on that, not very generous, but you hit one, it's going to be really good. If you can get to 4 limiteds of any of these leagues that are good, let me try this French one real fast. Let me just see here. So if I play Messi, I'm down to 48 each on limiteds. So there's more strategy in it now, and it gives everybody more of a chance. They can't just stack 5 superstars every week and bank that they'll come in. They have to have strategy, which is going to help us all. They just need to be, Sorare needs to be more generous. They got a lot of venture capital funding last year. They need to give more prizes in this. I know a ton of people enter from all over the world, but it's not very generous. And they're keeping their old contests for the time being. But the salary cap ones, if look at only how many have entered. Only 1,100. Now, they were saying something about progressing from amateur to professional to another level, but it looks to me like you can enter it now. And so these have a really good chance of winning the way it stands right now with a day left. 1,600, 200 if you have it. But just double check all of that. So with the French league, the big issue is PSG. Messi is 77. The top 3 forwards are Messi, Mbappe, Neymar, and Timothy Weah, who's a prospect. I believe Doku's a prospect. You have to double check. Jonathan David, who's a really good young player. Then you get down to guys I'm not as familiar with. Midfielder in La Liga. I think this Guendouzi is one of the top. Vitinha, Fofana, because you can only have two PSG. Bertut. This is who's picking them the most. Brassier and Perrin, I don't think we're that high, but here they're picking the PSG defender. Marquinhos, Hakimi, and Mendes. Goalie. Keylor Navas, Kawashima. These 2 are hurt and cheap. Another cheap. Then they're saving money here. They're going up to Dupé. They're doing a lot of 40 ones on the French because the Real Madrid players or the PSG players are so expensive. Diouf, I think where's old boy Courtois? Did I miss him on here? I mean, he's way down there. That might be a good one if you. Wait, how do you pronounce this? I mean, how do you spell his name? I might have missed him on here, but wait. Oh no, he's not the goalie. It's Donnarumma. Donnarumma actually ended up on my first team. I'm really sorry. Courtois on Real, right? Donnarumma was one of the highest touted goalies, and he's still only 23. He's fallen out of favor a little bit, but he's only 50 points on this, and he plays for the dominant team in the league. So that's actually who I had the first time as my 2 PSG. The reason why PSG is tricky because, let's see, to bring up the team. PSG's tricky because their salaries are so high, and also the dispersion of points. So when you go to their roster, 50-50-50. Good for a goalkeeper. You look at their defenders, there's not any super duper. I mean, Sergio Ramos is 36. People are picking Nuno Mendes, but he's apparently hurt. Um, Mukiele, Hakimi is a great player, but he's not putting up that many points. Marquinhos is a great player. He's not putting up a ton of points. You know, okay, then you go to the midfielders. Verratti's not putting up a ton of points, but he's the only midfielder, really. And then Pereira, because it depends on what you call midfielder, but categorized as a midfielder. So really the top non-forwards is like Ramos, but he's 36. Marquinhos, which is why he's getting picked a lot, but he's 53. So when you go to the forwards, you got Messi, whose numbers are the best player in the league. He's old, and how much is he going to play the rest of the season? Seems to be playing a lot. Neymar doesn't seem to be playing as much. I'm not sure what's going on with him, if he's going to be transferred. Mbappe is playing a lot, and he's expensive, and he puts up really good points. This Ekitike is one of the most promising young strikers in the French league, by the way. I'm not sure if they bought it. I think they bought him or he was on loan. I'm not sure. He needs to be playing, and looks like he is playing. So that's the issue with the French contest. Is if you put Messi in there, you're immediately down to like 47 a card, and that's with a cheap goalie and two cheap goalies, a 44 and a 40 goalie. So you're immediately down to 47 a card, and you need to find 3 more good players. So here, Marquinhos might be a good option. So this is highest selection percentage. Let's just say highest points. Oh no, I'm sorry. This is from all teams. Highest selection percentage. I searched for it, but ultimately what I came down to is that Mbappe is the second most likely pretty dominant player in the French league. So I went with him. So now I'm really hurting. I got for my best midfield and defense, I got to find a 43. And that's how I fell in this Guendouzi. There was a 49 one I was looking at, and he's actually the highest picked one. There's a 49 one who's not as picked as high. Well, this Moses Simon was my backup. Plays 100% of the games. Has some good performance. I'm not going to go through all the Sorare. So I found a good 40 there, because you're going to have to do 40s definitely for your backups. He was on he wasn't super high picked, but he was pretty high picked. On the defense, I was going through on SorareData on these. I think I'm having trouble loading. I'm loading so many things. Yeah, I might have too many windows open. Let me close. I got multiple browsers open with multiple windows. Yeah, I'm getting lagged down on the Sorare site really bad. Wow. Okay, well, I might not be able to get even back through there, but what I wanted to show you is another site, PlaySharper.com, that gives projections for who's going to be starting for given games. So like here, here I found that they have lineup prediction, game week, Spain. So if you're looking at Barca against Girona, lineup not available on that one. Not really sure why. Well, I'm jamming up my computer memory. I think I got too many stuff. I'm not sure. Anyway, this Play Sharper has some information on who might be starting. The Sports Gambler has lineups and injuries, but their lineups you got to take with a grain of salt. But they have them for all the major leagues, projected lineups. So like here we got Real against Sociedad, predicted lineups, but take them with a grain of salt. Courtois, Rudiger, Nacho, Vinicius, Benzema, Asensio, as well as Camavinga, and one of the Eder. And then they have the injuries by the leagues, which is useful. It's hard to find international soccer. So there's Lewandowski suspended for one more game, type of thing. Whoops. Okay, so then lost internet connection. That's really weird. I think I need to reboot my. All right, so anyway, tables. I'm just using Sky Sports, but you can get information otherwise. SorareData, player search, SorareData, game week. Click on the team also, and then the game week information. SO5 scores, like last 5, last 15, last 40, that type of thing. Look at the price. All right, good luck. I guess that's my thoughts on it. I'm sorry that I rambled a lot on here and had some technical issues towards the end. But thanks for checking out. Please subscribe, like, and comment. And my referral code is going to be in the top of the links. I should have mentioned that from the beginning. My Sorare referral code, which you can sign up, you can get a bunch of free cards, both basketball and NBA, and they have a baseball, soccer. They have a baseball one coming. They may have a PGA coming, as my DraftKings as well. So use my referral code. I have a good amount of limited NBA cards. I'm going to probably be switching some into limited Sorare football cards. All right, and I did really well on the DraftKings Rainmakers football. All right, thanks. Check it out. Have a good one.